The exploding cigar for Fidel Castro. Few leaders in history have survived more bizarre assassination attempts than Fidel Castro. Among the strangest plots against him was the infamous exploding cigar. CIA agents, desperate to remove Castro during the Cold War, cooked up schemes that sound more like Looney Tunes than intelligence operations. They believed his love for smoking could be his weakness, so they rigged a box of cigars to detonate when lit. The plan was to sneak these deadly stogies into his personal stash and wait for him to light up. But as with most of the hundreds of assassination attempts against Castro, this one failed spectacularly. The cigars never made it to him, and the scheme became a global punchline. To make things worse, other wild ideas included poisoning his diving suit, dusting his beard with chemicals to make it fall out, and even drugging him so he'd embarrass himself on live TV. Instead of killing him, these plans turned Castro into a symbol of resilience and made the CIA look like a cartoon villain factory. The exploding cigar is remembered today as a perfect mix of comedy and tragedy, proof that even superpowers can come up with hilariously bad ideas and disguised under ice to appear harmless. As Napoleon's coach rode by, the fuse was lit, but in the chaos the cart was jostled out of place. The explosion did go off, but it killed innocent bystanders instead, while Napoleon's carriage rolled on, shaken but untouched. Napoleon reportedly complained about the smell of gunpowder ruining his clothes, then continued to the opera as planned. The attempt was brutal, reckless, and sloppy. Ironically, it only strengthened his resolve to crack down on dissent, showing that sometimes bad assassination attempts can backfire politically. The poisoned undergarments of Haitian dictator Papa Doc. In the 1960s, Haitian dictator François Papa Doc Duvalier was the target of many plots, but one of the strangest involved poisoned clothing. Enemies of the regime hoped to lace his undergarments with toxins that would seep into his skin when he wore them. The plan might sound ridiculous, but it was rooted in the idea that dictators are often most vulnerable in private, mundane moments. Unfortunately for the conspirators, the scheme was uncovered before it could be put into play. Papa Doc, who was deeply superstitious and claimed mystical powers, used the discovery as propaganda. He presented it as proof that dark forces were constantly working against him, and only his supernatural connection kept him alive. Instead of weakening him, the bizarre plot fed into his cult of personality, making him appear untouchable in the eyes of supporters. The booby-trapped picture frame for Hitler. Adolf Hitler was the target of dozens of assassination attempts, but one of the weirdest never made it out of the planning stage. A group of German conspirators intended to present Hitler with a gift, a portrait of himself inside an ornate picture frame. Hidden within the frame was a bomb. The idea was that Hitler would hang the portrait proudly in his office, and at the right moment, the frame would detonate. It sounds almost poetic. Hitler destroyed by his own image. Unfortunately, the conspirators could never get close enough to deliver the deadly present. Security was too tight, and the plan fizzled before it began. While it never materialized, the idea remains one of the most symbolically strange assassination plots in history, blending vanity, irony, and violence. The poisoned mustard for Charles de Gaulle. French President Charles de Gaulle was notoriously hard to kill. He survived over 30 assassination attempts, many of them bizarre. One of the strangest involved his love for French cuisine. Conspirators plotted to poison a jar of mustard that would be served to him at a state dinner. The plan seemed elegant. No bombs, no bullets, just a simple condiment doing the deadly work. But the French Secret Service uncovered the attempt, and the poisoned mustard never made it near de Gaulle's plate. Instead, the scheme became a running joke. De Gaulle, famous for his confidence, once quipped that destiny itself protected him. Surviving mustard assassins certainly added to that myth. The samurai umbrella for a Bulgarian dissident. Perhaps one of the most famous strange assassinations that actually succeeded was the case of Georgy Markov, a Bulgarian dissident in London during the Cold War. In 1978, while waiting for a bus, he felt a sharp sting in his leg after being poked by a man's umbrella. Hours later, he collapsed and died. Autopsy revealed he had been injected with ricin, a deadly poison, via a tiny pellet fired from the umbrella's tip. The Bulgarian umbrella became a symbol of Cold War spycraft, equal parts sinister and theatrical. While not a failed attempt, it stands out as one of the oddest methods ever used. An umbrella in a rain-soaked city wasn't suspicious, which made it the perfect weapon. The balloon bomb for Japanese Emperor Hirohito. During World War II, American intelligence considered using weather balloons to deliver bombs over Japan. Most of these were launched by the Japanese themselves, but bizarrely, one assassination rumor involved targeting Emperor Hirohito directly by drifting explosive balloons near places he frequented. The problem? Balloons are about as reliable as kites in a hurricane. They went off course, blew up in random fields, or simply deflated harmlessly. The idea that the fate of an emperor might hinge on the wind direction made it one of the strangest assassination concepts ever imagined. The snake gift for Cleopatra. While Cleopatra's famous death by aspite may have been suicide, earlier attempts on her life supposedly included assassination by snake delivery. Enemies plotted to sneak venomous snakes into her chambers, disguised inside baskets of fruit or flowers. The hope was that when she reached inside, she'd be bitten. But Cleopatra was no fool. She had guards inspect her gifts carefully. These serpentine plots failed, leaving her to later choose poison by her own hand. The story of snakes as both attempted weapons and her eventual end shows how mythology and assassination blur together.